7, 5.
Nice. Okay. Hi guys.
Welcome back to a particularly interesting, spicy, and just all around heavy-hitting episode of Bards of New York. This is going to mark session episode 4 of Act 2. For, oh no, not the
Done it again.
We're doing great work here so far today.
We're winning today.
Amazing.
Yeah, this is episode 4 of Act 2 of the Regolus campaign. Thank you guys for joining us today, whether it is live today on Twitch. For those of you there, thank you. We'll be combing through chat as we go. And also thank you to you guys who listen to podcasts or watch on YouTube later on. Gonna be a nice session today. You guys have just leveled up. It's a new world. What is it, level 16? Am I crazy?
Indeed.
Level 16. You are really close to getting to some top tier abilities. Some of you may have already breached some of those.
I've breached something.
I'm multi-class, so it's a little
Right,
I'm multi-class
so you'll
as
never feel that.
Yeah.
When you multi-class, you kind of you give that up
Yeah.
a little bit. Just a little bit. You still gain a lot.
Right. I mean that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Right. We'll be having these newly powered up individuals wander through the woods shortly. But before we get to that, just as usual, some fun announcements, some average cool announcements here. First of all, if you haven't jumped on our Discord, please do so. Not only for the usual things that I always ramble on about, right? Like community, it's where a lot of Bard's content comes out, it's where our whole community is chatting about what we're doing throughout each week. But especially for the next few weeks as things change, as we may or may not be having some people showing up on the stream who haven't done it for a while, some new guests, some exciting things are happening, and first wind of that is going to be coming through our Discord. Definitely jump on there, find us on Instagram, it's where a couple of our giveaways have happened, it's where we do a lot of our own sort of posts throughout the week. I know I just got I commissioned Color Spray Creations, who we've worked with before, to I've got a dice set coming down, which should be here before Regulus is done. So that's going to be fun. I'm going to throw that up on Instagram before the day or before the campaign is out. So find us on there. If you have the means, subscribe on Twitch as well. It's where we can provide ourselves with some stellar upgrades from the support that you guys have shown us in the past. It's where these fancy new cameras have come from, which I think are already pulling their weight.
Because Lord knows I'm not.
This is gonna be a great session. I think to add it to the list of regular. Are you serious, my guy? What? That sounded like you just blasted the opening bars of I'm Alive.
No, it was the opening. It was the opening bars of Blue Oyster Cult. Don't fear the Reaper.
That's cute.
It was.
I think that song
I was
Next
posting
Normal is an homage to that, though.
Yeah, I think
I was posting on Instagram for the stream, and then one of the.
Yeah. Okay. Great. That's just stellar work. Right. I think I was going to say to add to our regular announcements because it is going to be a regular thing. Definitely, if you haven't checked out some of our friends over at Legends of Alos, our own esteemed Hannah Minshew is now a permanent resident over in those woods over there, so do check them out. They stream on Sunday afternoons, am I correct?
Yes, Sundays, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. And if you're in between there, it's, whatever in between.
8/9 p.m. GMT.
12 p.m. Specific.
If you're confused, figure it out. Maybe move.
It's called Google.
I don't know.
It's called the
Maybe move
Give
to
it
a
a
coast where time makes more sense.
Right. So,
Give it a goog.
we have a world to come back to, and before we jump back down to Regulus Prime, we have to pull our tarot card for the day to tell our fortunes in the smoking crate of the futurist bunker, and it is Hannah Minshew's turn. Please, what do the fates have in store for us today?
My elbow popped. Okay, here we go.
Not that one.
It's funny.
No, that one.
It's all
What do we have? What do we have? What do we have?
The Lovers.
Lovers. Ooh. And they.
Varric.
BioWare made their choice when they said the Lovers was going to be just Varric's bare chest, right?
with the crossbow.
It's Varric and
where
Bianca,
his
right?
penis would be.
It's his big love affair.
That's fair.
Exactly where you need to
It's
go.
his one true love. It's why you can't romance him. He's always stuck with Bianca. This card is a classic. It represents entanglement. It represents duality. It represents it can represent like selflessness or deep selfishness. It's sort of like the Gemini of all of the major arcana, right? That's sort of how we can think of it. So with the bifold of duality hanging over our shoulders here, let's entangle ourselves back down in the world of Regolus Prime. Okay? So, last session, you guys fought, ran, scrambled, and clawed your way out of a futurist bunker that you had tracked, that large construct's tracks to. Terra and Angelo, you guys were in the control room, fending off Vindictus's efforts to transport what seemed to be an unfinished version of that same construct back into the room to continue hunting you down, and you did so by breaking the main transportation console, which forced Vindictus to take action by overloading the bunker, forcing it to implode. Meanwhile, Ignis had their hands full dealing with the sort of rising tomb guard from the barracks portion of this bunker that you handily sort of dodged up, dived and dodged away from, but they continued to infect you with their own sort of ignited might. And you fought bravely, you held them off until your friends arrived to provide some support and get you all out of this collapsing star of a bunker. You all teleported out, whether through Dimension Door or through a planar sigil, and found your ways to the greater outside, where you rested in the little tiny hut here, leveled up, while Terra was visited by Ishtava, informing you that whispers, some hints had been found that perhaps some trace of the final lich of the God-Killer Coven was up in a valley known as Dragonhorn, up in the Dragonspine Mountains. And this is where we find ourselves today. As the sun rises in the east, that sort of glimmering mote that so many people on Regulus send their devotion towards, as the first rays of light bleed through the eastern the eastern verge of the forest far off.
It was making a lot of noise.
Oh, really?
Sorry.
Well, that's it for you. As you guys find yourself in what is known as the Calatian Grove, this large sort of forested land in the Calatine state, the rising sun rays sort of wend and bleed their way through the wisps of smoke that still hover in the air languidly from this crater where the bunker used to be. As these 8 hours pass, and the tiny hut, your dome, Angelo, sort of fades away into wisps of magic and light, as the two of you awaken, and Terra, you sort of energize yourself, right? Having had quite the evening. Yeah, the smut book closes for the night, right? For the morning. So, with the smell of charcoal and burnt leaves in the air, the morning is yours in the wood. You can hear crickets and birds sort of waking with you in the great wood itself. What do you guys want to do?
Wipe the sleepies from your eyes. Ishtava gave us a path.
And I'm sorry, I'm still dead from yesterday. Sure.
You look dead.
Thanks. Were we on a path already?
No. Well, I mean, we were doing the stuff for the coalition. No, Ishtava says that they found a cult up in the mountains that might be where the last lich is.
Liches get stitches.
It's a couple mountains.
It is 8 in the morning. I'm sorry, can you start the day like that?
Are you okay?
No.
I mean,
I'm in so much pain.
What? It's a strange question, but I promise you it leads somewhere. Do you still have most of your battle gear on, or do you like doff it and don it? I know in the rules you're supposed to, but how do you wear it to?
Well, armor-wise, Ignis does not wear.
Sure, but like,
armor.
how much of your like adventuring battle gear do you wear when you are in rest mode?
Just the short sword is like nearby.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that,
Sure. So you can see some fairly fresh scars on Ignis here. Not just like, you know, the classic battle scars, but some new sort of like warped, almost those strange steam burn sort of marks that now both pairs of siblings have, indicative of the plague, the infection, whichever brand of viral work has been going on here. Healed in a short-term sense.
so are we doing that now, or did we use the little like fork thing and see if there's still some sort of, you know what I mean? Remember the? Let's do that, and if that's not happening anymore, I guess we did it, right? Do we have to go back to the city and tell them we did it?
I did
Or
it
should we?
last night, and it did lead somewhere else, but Gustavo told me that the afterlife is unraveling.
That sounds.
So that means, seems to me, that things won't die?
I don't know if it's gonna be like the Day of the Undead, or Undeath, whatever that holiday is, but it didn't seem like they were pleased about it, and it seemed kind of urgent.
So,
What's our fastest way?
What is our fastest way to
Do you know any
So-
teleportation circles?
Do we?
As far as you would have a teleportation circle in your book, but it's not it. It's like the other point of the isosceles triangle, right? So if you're in the woods on the western side, you have a teleportation circle that would take you way. You have a couple, but the one that's relevant is up, sort of in the like east northeast. So it would take you laterally and a little horizontally, but not any closer necessarily to Dragonhorn. As far as which way is the fastest goes, do any of you have like any of you proficient in like cartography or map making or navigation or anything like that?
Not in the least. No. I don't even have to look to know I'm not.
Yeah, just like not my bag, fam. Great, okay. You might as well be in a wood anywhere.
Yep.
Right? You could be in, like off the coast somewhere in the middle of nowhere and it would make no difference.
Like Hannah, Terra cannot find her way out of a paper bag.
that's
fucking funny. Okay. Well, in that case, if none of you necessarily do it, I will have each of you roll me an intelligence, a wisdom saving throw.
It might be intelligence.
No. Has more to do about like self-awareness and presence in the world.
Good start. I rolled a 3.
Roll a 3. Yeah, you're thinking about the hobbly old witch who met you last night, more so than where you are.
And where that cane went.
Yeah, and how that cane went.
It's a 20, but make it filthy.
Try to make it filthy. Dirty 20 if you're nasty. Great.
Yeah.
And for you?
11.
11. So, you're aware, Ignis, that just based on your exploits off the coast and business you've done up and down the mortal states, that the northern trading route, the big main trade road that you sort of briefly crossed before, that travels sort of parallel to the Coalition Rail, that is reliable. You have exploited it on a number of occasions. You know how to work it.
Sure.
And more to the point, now that you're heroes, if you could even potentially stop at Fort Azor, the military base up in Keitel, and potentially like bargain for an escort or some kind of transport or whatever it was.
Yeah.
That seems fairly quick as far as you're concerned. Angelo, just by sort of feeling it, familiarity with the area and your passage through this wood so far, and generally a sense of how big this forest must be, you get a sense that if you cut through the wood, you could potentially seriously cut down on travel time to sort of breach the mortal states and end up somewhere at the base of the mountain range.
Do I know these woods?
Not particularly well. Other than they're woods, right?
Right. Well, I relay this. But I also tell you guys, I have no idea what dangers are in these woods, but I do know that this could be a potential shortcut to our destination.
Let's do it.
Ignis, are you prepared for any and all dangers?
Yep. I feel great.
Okay.
Yeah? I poke a bruise.
Of which there are many to choose from.
You feel a glare underneath the
Oh,
sunglasses.
you just put the sunglasses on? You're like a hungover teenager.
I
Okay,
just want to
great.
be clear that sunglasses in this world are absolutely and only like the Ozzy Osbourne shades, right?
Absolutely.
Exclusively.
I mean, I already said that they were like John Lennon.
Yeah,
Like,
yep. As stylish as it gets. Okay, so we're gonna brace ourselves to trek northwards, like northwest through the woods.
Mm-hmm.
With that 20, I'll say you know that you generally want to keep further north through the woods, because if you go too northwest in the woods and get lost, you could end up somewhere in the heart wilds. And that is... You still have... They're here.
Oh, okay.
They're hitched to a tree somewhere. I mean, you guys left them right here when you went.
Yeah, and we did the smart thing and
Maybe
walked
they
them
were in
back
the
from the
crater.
hole
We're
and
gonna
tied
say
them in the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna say that they're fine.
They're fine. Okay.
I'm not gonna rip these 3 horses from you. They've been traveling with you for as long as you've been traveling with each other.
What
Basically.
is it, Drew?
Just roll percentage.
Precious.
Drew, Ophelia, and
And
Precious.
Ophelia.
That is like the perfect microcosm of the 3 types of D&D players. D&D players who play for self-actualization, D&D players who play to be funny, and D&D players who write a 20-page backstory for every character. And there is no in between.
Which one are you? I know which one
Everyone
I
knows.
am.
Everyone
I have a
knows.
bit of a piece of each,
Sure.
Which pieces?
but which one's dominant? I have to think about that one.
You're telling me that you're a switch. Great. Moving right along.
Oh my god.
As you
Keep it
guys
fun
are
and flirty.
prepping for the journey, is there anything particular you guys want to do? Is there anything you're focusing on? If you guys want to chat, you're more than welcome to, but you have like let's say an hour of prep time before you guys saddle up and sort of make your way through the forest. It doesn't have to be, it could be just regular, sort of after the events of yesterday, sort of gathering your senses and moving along, that's totally fine, but if there is anything particular, I would love to hear it.
Don't forget about your 14 temporary HP.
Yeah, got it in.
Yeah, so, next time we get in a fight, don't light anyone on fire.
I didn't do that this time. I've learned my lesson.
Great. Let's keep with that
I'm doing my best.
path. And don't almost get poisoned to death.
I'm the victim.
Uh-huh.
Of both of these situations.
I would say that you chose to run off on your own.
Y'all were doing
So you
one
can
thing.
victimize yourself in your own situation, but you left.
Children.
Why?
I just don't want to pick up the pieces. I would like us all to remain alive, and if we are going in the direction of the lich, we gotta be on the same level.
Yes, Mom.
Okay. Precious, come here.
Literally, like.
Oh, Ophelia.
These 3 horses have been sort of like grazing on some of the moss and grass here, and at the call of any one of their names, all 3 of them look up, and I can only describe it to you as if they all 3 inherently look so tired of the rabble. Look up sort of like this.
Oh.
We need to retire these horses. We run them ragged.
You're saddling up?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. You saddle up, you gather your things, you unhitch the horses from the trees, and head up northward. I will say, as you guys trot through this underbrush beneath the canopy as the light still sort of wends in, it's clearly early morning, I'm talking like 7 at the most. Moving northwards is a little trickier than as you came into the forest from the west moving eastwards. The trees are more densely packed north to south than they are east to west. So it's just sort of, you can't move quite as fast as you could before, but it's still easier to push through than it would be if you were following. It's like taking the hypotenuse of the triangle, right? If you're moving up this way, whereas with the road you'd have to go this way and this way, right? But it's slow going as far as forest movement has gone. You haven't had to do a ton of forest trekking in your time. It's mostly been through plains and fields and trains and one mine. So it's a nice change of pace. The sounds of, natural life are abundant. The only sound that interrupts that very occasionally is the distant thrum of the Coalition rail sort of humming magnetically as it crosses somewhere, but it's so far off that you can't see it and only hear a distant rumble. Other than that, you can hear like brush crackling and leaves sort of rustling as things move around you, bird song, a little animal call here and there. I need all 3 of you to pick a number between 1 and 10.
3.
6.
8.
Hannah, do you have a coin? Flip a coin for me, please.
Is it because it's always 3 with you because you can't pick 13?
No, it just was 3 this time. It's 3 a lot of the time. It's not always 3. It's mostly 3 because I don't want to pick 7. Because that's what they always say people pick.
50 pence?
50 pence.
Tails.
Tails? Cool. I will have... First of all, are you all in a, sort of moving as horizontally as unilaterally as you can? Are you in a marching order? How are you moving? Is anyone navigating for you?
Not Terra.
I'll navigate. I'll take the lead.
Okay.
I'm fairly good directionally.
I'll take us the rear.
Sort of watching, like, in case there's anything coming at you, in case there's any, like, sudden random constructs appearing. Can you roll me a nature check? Survival check.
Uh-oh.
Natural 1.
Cool. I
fall asleep.
No, it's great. It's great.
I'm so tired from the day before that I'm just like...
You fall off your horse, much like Jamie in Outlander does in the first episode.
No, I keep on it.
You guys go for a couple hours through this way with Ignis, you sort of pointing out, like, okay. North. Veer to the left, just giving some, like, you feel fairly confident. In fact, the longer you go, the more absolutely sure you're like, you know what, fuck going just north. We're gonna head northwest, we're gonna get right there to the base of exactly where we need to be at the edge of the mountains. And it's only after about 2 hours of, like, sort of steady trotting through the forest that you all realize the trees have completely changed.
In what way?
In that they are no longer multiple separate trees. The roots breach the ground and are interwoven with each other. The leaves have changed from sort of like oaken kind of chestnut leaves to these sort of twisted, almost evergreen, pine-like needles. The foliage of the forest has changed, but thanks to Ignis's steadfast navigation, you're assured you are moving in the right direction, at least for a moment. Angelo, will you roll me 2 d20s?
Ignis, I'm so proud of you and your navigating skills. You know, Dad would be proud.
I mean, I spent so much time on the sea.
18 and 10.
18 and 10.
Do you navigate by the stars, or is it by landmarks, or like wind?
Ah, yes, the stars. Not good. No, I mean, I usually just go by, like, where the sun is.
Uh-huh.
So I guess that's a star.
The sun is definitely not that visible.
So, where's the sun right now?
I don't know, Terra. Where does the sun usually go during the day?
In the sky, but you say you're navigating by the sun.
Do you want to lead? You
no,
wanna
I really don't. I'm
okay,
just...
then yeah. Well. Here we fucking are.
So, I don't even know what to say. Give me 1 second
Are we getting
here.
into like the what are they called, the heart wilds or some shit?
So,
Oops.
you guys are into this sort of like much sort of denser, greener, richer forest, and it's as this conversation about the sun is going on that this sort of wind rustles past you, and you can it's like this beautiful, refreshing wind, but as it rustles through the trees, some of the trees glitter a little bit briefly with bioluminescence as the wind passes. And then as the wind goes, the bioluminescence stops, but as that rustling passes around you, the trees, it feels like a weird optical illusion. You know when you look at a spiral for too long, and then you look at your hand and your hand looks like it's sort of swishing and swirling? Kind of has the same perceptive feel as that. The trees sort of bend and move in place, except they move a little bit. And they shift around you, and just sort of reallocate. And the path that you've taken doesn't really look like it did. And as you're still moving forward, this is when
into the wrong bag of mushrooms.
I was thinking, are we on drugs?
it's the fever.
I keep the one bag of herbs in the one pouch, and then the other one.
I may have seasoned the chicken with the
pouches.
Angelo, as the path sort of shifts around you, and you take a look behind you, a small, it's not even a clearing, it's just like a slightly less dense copse of trees behind you, sort of becomes exposed, and you see right there, where there wasn't anything before, all semi-camped in this copse of trees, are 2 figures. They don't seem to have noticed you exactly, but they are suddenly there when they weren't there before. One of them is like this bald individual, these little geometric tattoos all over their head. Again, it's a little far away to get details about what their face looks like, but sort of masculine in structure, wearing these it's like half chainmail, half robes for the top part. The second one, slightly more angular in nature, hair done up in like a it's like half a mohawk, half an updo of some sort. Similar, like, robed armor for the top plate. The distinguishing feature for both of them is from the waist down, it's just this beautiful, thick, coiled, white-scaled tail. And you have never seen such an individual before.
Stop.
And they're behind us.
Yeah.
I don't know it.
Well, I'm going to say something. Ignis, Terra.
Hmm.
Pause.
Yeah?
What?
Don't shush
Wait,
me!
shh, there's someone in the clearing over here, and I'm trying to keep us quiet so I don't alert them. I want you guys to see this. I've never seen anything like it before.
Never seen a person?
No, it's more than a person.
Is it something that they're doing?
Okay, would you
I
come here and
can
look?
give you a couple books that'll show you a lot, teach you a lot of things. Don't worry about it. Just open them and read.
Just come and look at what I'm looking at.
Okay. You sort of trot over, and you see them too. These two figures, sort of like camped. These long, like beautiful tails coiled up so that they're sort of sitting, like mulling over some kind of small, like floating campfire. Clearly talking to each other. So one of them is looking around. The one with hair, pointing a couple things out.
We're just having some mic issues.
Oh,
Sorry.
joyful.
It goes in a figure 8 pattern, so it needs to be in a certain position.
This is supposed to face this side. This
Mm.
side doesn't pick up much. So it's this for the front of this is
But
what
it
Dan
should
was
be
telling me.
here. Put it in the middle. Let's see if that helps. Please stand by. Thank you very much.
Okay, yes, apparently there is. Thank you, Sky, for bringing this to our attention. Yeah, it might be a chord problem. We love talk about issues we have in person on the fly. On
A
the
different
fly.
problem every time. Let us know if it gets better as we fix this. Thank you for letting us know.
Yeah, they are. Well, let me just. Okay.
They shoot Ignis in the
They
head.
they seem sort of engrossed, but they. I assume you've also been brought to attention of this matter, right? Are you turning
Yeah,
to them?
I'm like sitting on the horse, so behind
Yeah.
these two.
Yeah, they're quite. They're self-contained. They're again seemingly looking up the canopy a little bit, dealing with each other. They are both absolutely armed, very much so armed. Each of them has some kind of bladed weapon hovering behind their back somewhere.
I dismount
Okay.
and I walk into the clearing.
You just walk straight up towards them.
I kind of say, "Morning." Smile.
They immediately their tails almost react instinctively before the upper parts of their bodies do. They sort of swivel back in place and up, raised a little bit. Weapons not exactly drawn, they're just sort of braced. Mouths in a little bit of a grimace. Their faces, on a closer inspection, look a little he who must not be named-y.
Snake.
Right? Their sunken eyes, slitted nose sockets, and lipless mouths.
Cool. Oh, hey. Hi. Sorry. We're just a little lost. I mean, I know that
You're
we're on the right
lost?
track.
Oh, that's news to us. Ms. I'm following the sun. Hi.
Where are we? Things are getting a little odd here. The trees, not you. You're not odd at all. Good morning.
Whoa.
The one, kinda. The one with hair sort of slides a little bit closer towards you, hands down. You are not from here?
No. Are you?
Looks towards the bald one. Bald one goes. We are also not from here.
It's a weird place, isn't it? The trees are kind of weird.
Yes.
I honestly thought that we took drugs. It wouldn't be the first time.
No, it would. Hi.
This is my sister.
I'm the face of this arrangement. Hi. Where are you from?
We are from overseas. We came to.
Do I believe?
This is getting very
What's
close
the-
to
what's
the
the roll?
character you've
Yeah.
given us. That if Woody
22?
kills you, you're coming back.
Yeah.
Is that?
22?
22. Absolutely, they are. As far as you can tell, they are for sure from overseas.
Sure.
Over
We came.
what sea? There's only one big sea.
I mean, if you do,
Yes.
you know, I think about it that one.
Yes. Over that one.
Huh. Well, I really only stopped because I was wondering if you guys knew where we were going. Are you guys headed towards the, what are the mountains called?
Dragon.
The dragon spine.
Are you guys headed towards
mountains?
the Dragon Spine? Slash, can you...
Let's go.
Do you need a Ricola?
Those exist.
The
Um,
old Ricola? Have mint or herbal?
No, we are here to study and collect samples
Of what? Or whom?
of the living wood. We do not have the same they have here.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
What do they have? What are your names?
The living.
I have lots of questions.
First, we like questions. That is, we are here to ask.
Uh-huh.
We seek similar things. Yes.
I waved Angelo over if you're not already there.
Yeah, I wasn't, so
Um,
on my way.
yeah, just sort of, you've been like watching this,
Yeah.
taking notes perhaps. The bald tattooed one is keeping some distance, like very like observing, definitely still like a little hesitant. This one, I am Dirna. This is my companion Balko.
Ignis. This is Terra. Over there's Angelo.
This is good. This is a greeting. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How do you greet people?
Differently.
How?
How? It's,
Probably something like that.
Just like open mouth kiss somebody?
it is hard to say when you do not. When you do not.
Why don't you show us with each other?
And they sort of whip around. They move very quickly when they move, right? They sort of like zip around.
You just watch them fuck.
I think so.
They do what is an avatar. Right?
Yeah,
They-
Yeah, the tail's like,
yeah.
doink.
I don't like the doink.
Yeah, it's what happens, right?
I'm gonna take notes.
They sort of, the two of them post up towards each other. They almost make opposing figure S's, right? They raise up towards each other. One does a little bow and flicks their tongue out like a,
Oh, jeez.
and it's not a forked tongue. It's just like a long, excessively long, thin, pointed tongue that like
Even more
flicks out.
uncomfy.
The other one does the same. You see that the one with the tattoos, when their tongue flicks out, the tongue is riddled with piercings, like lots of metal piercings.
I whisper to Ignis, that one gives the best blowjobs, I'm sure.
Jesus.
And they,
That's what tongue rings are
as
for.
they both sort of post back, looking towards each other, their eyes like flash a little bit.
Maybe that is their tick.
And they sort of look over to you.
Uh-huh.
This is formal. How?
I mean, that makes. I feel like that's not too far away from,
What
in
we
general,
do.
what people do, even little.
Yeah.
It's formal, yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Well,
We gotta go, but
we are.
can
we
help.
Are on a.
We think
we
you say what is lost? Yes.
We know
Yeah,
where
are
we're
we
going,
lost?
and we know in general where we are.
Do we?
Kinda.
We
Where
do?
are you?
Sure we do. Actually, we are lost.
Do you know? Do you know where you are?
Yes.
Where is that?
The center, close to center.
that straightens things out, doesn't it, Ignis?
If you don't know,
This
Ignis
is
doesn't know
where-
where we are.
Center.
Which
No,
also
Ignis
means-
knows exactly where
sure,
we are.
sure.
Come
Close
on,
to the
Ignis, lead the
center.
way.
Is
I'm
this
just trying to help these foreign friends that we've met. All right.
I'm sorry. I
Huh?
think they're trying to help us.
is this the way people speak here? Two people saying different things.
Just family.
This is
It's what
same.
you might call
This is
it
same.
a disagreement, right?
Yes. That is not good.
I wouldn't say it's.
Healthy.
Yeah, it's healthy.
Friction makes fire.
Mm-hmm.
Mind makes fire. Not.
Excuse me?
What?
But like,
I think we speak across.
Oh, please show me how you make fire.
You-
Please.
you mean like magic fire? I'm saying like fire.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Natural
Have you never seen a fire started with using?
tools.
Oh my
Why
god.
would you do this?
Honestly, I'm not sure how she does it. She's very good with rocks.
I throw together a couple
I've never
sticks
been able
and
to
shit
do
that I
it.
find and bring out like and just and start like a little fire.
They watch intently. And Diana looks back at the other one. And Balco sort of standing there. This is good joke. I like this joke. He sort of finally relaxes and slides up. Sort of like rolls up.
You mean joke?
It is
What?
meant to be amusing, yes?
I mean it's kind of it's entertaining, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's the more like menial way of making fire.
Mm.
It's practical.
Not everyone
What
can
does
do
this-
mind fire. You know.
No.
All right.
Good. If you are way late in the center here, this is, so it is said, a messy place to be if you are not certain of the road on which you travel. It is why we prepare for coming to such a place.
The center of what?
You are where you go to study, yes?
I feel like we would know what the forests are like, kind of around the.
I think you'd be
the-
aware that you
Yeah.
are probably like
Yeah.
somewhere peripherally
Yeah,
within the Heart
we
Wild.
get that we're in the Heart Wilds, and like that's why it's starting to get all magical-y.
Mm-hmm.
So we know where we are.
Do we, though?
Yes.
If you need a way
We
out,
veered a little east, and I am sorry.
The last time this happened, we were a week late to the event that I had spent weeks planning with the coalition.
It seems like none of us learned from our old mistakes. That's all I'm hearing.
And now we're gonna be late to kill a lich.
Diana is going over and sort of like putting out the fire, sort of, kind of by like eating it a little bit, while Balco stays with the three of you.
we have other sites to see. We have other trees to tap. But if you are looking for a surefire way to get out, we could. I'm sure.
Diana sort of looks up.
I don't see why not. We could lend you one of our navigators. It would seem perhaps it is perhaps a device you are not used to, but it will be most elucidating for you.
Well, as long as it doesn't hurt Ignis's pride.
Yeah, Ignis would love it.
Perhaps you could be first to show people around these parts of this device.
Yes.
Yeah, look how
and we would say
popular
that
you'll be.
we say that it comes from.
Say you made it. We were not here.
Why?
Why? Would you like to
We weren't.
remain obscure?
But you're so lovely.
Perhaps, but it would seem. Perhaps some parts are not yet ready for great change. Or any change.
Can I just ask, when you say overseas, what direction overseas?
It was you that said there is only one, yes?
Yes.
But you also understand what cardinal directions are.
Yes, of course, but we do not travel that way.
What if I wanted to come visit your lovely world, land?
You could use the navigator.
Ah.
Fantastic.
It is perfect. A gift from our people to yours. From ours to yours.
I think this is the start of a beautiful friendship.
And he goes over sort of just a little bit closer to Deanna. They like chatter for a moment in that strange sort of like guttural tongue before she sort of reaches through some of the folds of her gear, her armor, and pulls out this like palm-sized thing that is I can only describe it as a 20-sided three-dimensional object.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of the 20 sides being linked together, they're all slightly separated with some like energy pulsing in the middle.
This is some Halifax bullshit.
And there are like carvings all over each of the sides, and it's about like yay big. All in this beautiful like gilded bronze plating with malachite inlay. It's just very like it's refined. Yeah, it's a little bigger than that, and if all the little facets were separated.
Mm-hmm.
But that can be our prop version of it. That's the prop table version of this thing. And they hand it over. This should be most helpful in allowing you to travel as ways you want to travel.
Cool.
Thank you. What my sister is trying to say is thank you so much
Yes.
for your help.
Of course.
Well, maybe we'll see you again.
I
would hope-
will see you again. That's a threat and a promise.
This would be a grand meeting.
Okay.
I would hope it would be sooner rather than later.
Well, depending on how fast we get done with what we're doing, maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
I think we'll see. Good.
Yes. Great.
Good.
Bye-bye.
Perfect.
Come on, precious.
I thought that was going to be very different.
And the two, they just like watch you go.
I
They-
turn around and wave. Goodbye.
They give you like Deanna gives you a little salutation. Balko is fiddling with something.
Stick.
Oh, what if he gave us a bomb?
Okay, you're riding away.
Yes.
Yeehaw.
All right. How are we doing this? Who's navigating? Are you using this thing? Are you trying to go back the way you've come? You're definitely like
I
you're
give
clearly
this
aware
thing
that you're
to
somewhere else.
Angela though, because I'm like,
It's
use this
definitely
right now?
magical, right?
I'm gonna do an Arcana check on it.
Yeah.
Well, and investigate it as well.
Sure. I like Arcana here. What are you looking for within it?
The way that tech and magic combine in this, because that's
Yeah, it's
Angela's
like your thing.
quirk. He likes to find.
Not your quirk.
Yeah, right.
It's called kink.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, roll me that Arcana check.
show me the magic.
15.
15. Yeah, I mean you can't read any of the little carvings because it's like not quite script, not quite runes, it's somewhere between. In terms of style, it doesn't look like this. It's somewhere between like hieroglyphics and Nordic style runes, right? It's neither one nor the other.
Mm-hmm.
Each face is a little different, though they all seem to be linked with these magical threads. With 15, I will, and your proficiency with magic and tech and that kind of like that fringe,
this seems to be less something that has multiple functions and more something that goes on and off. Like it looks like you can basically tap into it and energize that magical energy within it to cause it to do its thing, or have it not do that and stay in its dormant state that it is now.
Yeah. Well, from this point, in realizing something like that, I just pour a little bit of energy into it.
Okay, just basically turn it on.
Yeah.
Flip that switch, baby.
Yeah, you like sort of flicker it. You allow just sort of like channel some of that magical energy, and there's that resonant sort of green whitish aura that sort of holds all the plates together, pulses and flares, and the plates sort of they click. Each plate clicks once, so there are these 20 clicking sounds. The thing goes, and the pair of you watch Angelo disappear into energy. And the thing goes, and just thunks onto the forest floor.
Fuck. I try my new feat. Telepathy.
Toss. Just Jean Greying it.
Yep. Do I sense Angelo anywhere? I send a message.
Let me look up telepathy as a feat, please. 1 second. I had it last week, but no, it's telepathic. The internet. My computer is like, there are so many.
You are able to speak telepathically to any creature as long as you share a language. You also learn. I can do detect thoughts, but that doesn't.
You can speak with a creature you can see within 60 feet of you. I'm reading.
Oh, that doesn't say it on D&D Beyond. At least not on the character sheet.
Sometimes on the character sheet.
It's a feat from Tasha's, and I think I have Tasha's. So
I'm
give me 1 second.
You when you make the
see
connection.
within 60 feet of you. Yep. You're right.
Yeah, definitely not visible or within 60 feet.
Can't see. Fuck, what about sending? I have that too. Angelo?
You using sending? You doing a send of sending?
Yeah, I'm gonna do sending. Angelo? The fuck you is?
Angelo, you pull your energy into that thing, you see it click, it whips around you, you're enveloped by this like beautiful light, feels sort of like pins and needles washing all over your skin. It flares up, and as everything cools down, there's a cooling and then an immediate wave of humidity as you are in a forested area, but a completely different one. The trees are much skinnier and much taller, with these like lush fronds coming from the top. The air is like wet and humid, and screeching through the distance you can hear like just like different cries of things. And it is as you're gathering your bearings here that you just feel in tune with everything. There is a wealth of magical energy around you, and it just like feels connected with you. And then you hear, what was it? Angelo, where you at?
The fuck you is.
The fuck you is. Of course, sorry.
So meaning, does sending work plane of existence wise?
That's a good question.
Because that's a big.
So.
I believe sending does not work on separate planes.
Yeah. So does he hear it?
You can send this message across any distance and even to other planes of existence, but if the target is on a different plane than you, there is a 5% chance that the message doesn't arrive.
You hear this message.
Fuck.
You have 25 words to respond.
Well, let me first find out where I am. I want to do an investigation check on the area, see if I know anything about this. 15.
With 15, you are just aware, sort of scholastically, that this is unlike any particular biome on the main continent of Regulus. It's similar-ish to some of the swamps in the southwest, but this is much lusher than the swamps, and these sounds are very, very, very different. You could estimate with a 15 pretty accurately, you're probably not on the mainland.
I go over to the as this is happening. I kind of like kick the thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, bring him back.
Hello, Angelo.
I send back. Not on mainland. I used to have 25
25 words,
words.
not syllables. So you've used 3.
Not on mainland. Pour energy into device and join me.
No. No. I think you need to get back to us.
Well, I can't.
We
I
got
don't have the
shit
device.
to do. You got spells and shit? What do you got, like plane shifts or some shit?
I'm not on well, I don't know if I'm on a different plane or not.
Plane shift works if you're on the same plane. You can do something.
I take out, because of the way I cast sending is I have to write it in my book.
Oh, I love it's like Tom Riddle's diary,
Exactly.
right?
Yep.
The ink fades away and like or do you just get a chat log?
It scrolls. It goes and eventually expires.
Eventually, like loop back through what you've sent. I love it. I'm obsessed with that. Okay.
Angelo, we have a lich to kill. How is this getting us what we want? Question mark.
Do I know if this is closer to our destination or farther from it?
If it's not on the mainland, it's definitely farther.
But
With a 15, I'll put it this way: the mountains are where things start to get cold. You are not
nowhere
cold.
near. Okay. I sit back. NVM.
No. I'll count
You
that as
just
2
invent
words.
text.
What? That's 3 letters.
3 letters, but meaning never mind. 2 words. From this point out, in sending,
One word.
in sending for forever, I will absolutely accept acronyms, but it will count
That's 2 words.
as 2 words. All
Okay.
acronyms.
What's
will
the
count as
point
2
of
words.
using an acronym then?
Because LOL becomes 2 words as opposed to 3.
Okay, fair. I will find a way back. Keep going.
Okay.
He just said to keep going.
Is this horse still here?
Yeah.
Take Drew with you.
Drew just, as soon as Angelo disappeared, Drew just started eating the grass.
Fuck me.
Drew is not at all
How
concerned.
far did we go before this happened?
You went like, I would
Are
say...
those assholes still like in the distance?
They're gone.
You can't see him anymore.
We've been punked.
Yeah. What the ass?
What in the ass?
I mean, you could try and find him again.
Okay, options. We either go and Angelo either comes back to this spot and has to catch up, and we're down. It's just the 2 of us.
Well, I mean, he might come back to where the thing is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's think about this logically.
It's the only way I ever think about anything.
The item teleported him, but it didn't go with him.
Yes.
Why?
Roll me a perception. Are you marking how many times you're using sending?
I don't have a limited amount, I don't think.
Because sending, you only get 1 message each before the spell expires.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You have unlimited sending?
Mm-hmm.
From what?
2 people written in the book.
It's called Far Scribe.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course, right.
I only have 3 spell slots. I gotta have
Of course.
something.
Yeah, I forget that's like how warlocks work. It's like, I can cast these 3 spells, but I also have cheat codes.
Mm-hmm.
My sugar daddy or sugar mommy or sugar themmy has given me
I like that one.
Sugar than me.
I like that
has
one.
given me
Oh my god.
hack, more money code on Sims
That's called
for the
Motherload.
universe. Sorry, it's on Spore. It's more money.
It's a natural 20
A nat 20.
with a total of 20.
Okay, since we're splitting the party cross continent, let me focus on the end of this action here before I go to that.
Mm-hmm.
But keep that in mind.
Regardless, I think that if he comes back, it will be through the thing, not the location. So let's tie the ball to Drew's neck, or like put it in his pouch.
Mm-hmm.
Hook him up to you, just like hitch your horse to Drew,
Uh-huh.
and we're just gonna keep going towards the mountains.
Okay, so we'll put the ball in Drew's sack.
Hey, yo!
We'll tie him up to me.
Yes, be careful with the ball sack though.
Yeah, okay, I will. And I'll follow you wherever you may go.
I will try to do a better job of navigating this time. I apologize. And next time we run into some creepy fuckers, I won't speak with them.
They were nice.
They clearly fucked us.
I think they were nice.
Okay.
I think their intentions were good.
It didn't take us where we needed to go.
Well,
It
it's
took him-
Angelo.
Maybe he needed to go somewhere else.
It could have been user error.
It's fair.
Haven't you seen that play where the young wizard tries to teleport via a fireplace and he doesn't enunciate and then he ends up where he's not supposed to be?
I have seen that play.
Yeah, that play.
It's fairly well known. Has its writing flaws though.
Mm-hmm. The
I heard the
the
playwright's
playwright's a
cunt.
yeah.
It's
Playwright's a
caused some trouble
shithead.
in the mortal states, but sure. Okay, so you're tying the ball to the sack,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and
And we're
can't.
just gonna keep.
Moving
We're gonna do
onwards.
this on the move.
Yep.
okay. So you basically the horse Drew is not, is knows the pair of you, is not skittish now that Angelo is gone, but just sort of like flows with the punches here. You tie it around the sort of harness, get back on the saddle, and go. I will have the pair of you collectively roll me a survival check.
Mm.
Okay.
Can I roll above 10? Barely.
Great. I'll take barely.
That's a 17.
17?
Mm-hmm.
11.
Okay.
I'm rolling poorly.
So you basically, between the pair of you, as you're sort of getting situated back on the horses, you
Mhm.
know where you've come from. If you're in the Heart Wilds, you must have come eastwards some way. So you just direct yourselves sort of northwards again and begin to move forward. You are sure that you're moving north, maybe slightly listing to the west to get back on track a little bit, but you have a general sense of where you're going. Though the trees here do continue to shift a little bit, and their root entanglement makes it a little slower going even than it was, and you have to be fairly precise about where you're moving the horses. You can't just sort of let them go and sort of sit on autopilot.
Come on, Drew, you got this.
With that,
Precious, you're doing great, sweetie.
little carrot, you know. With that collective survival check, I will say, with this new, slightly slower pace, a journey that in theory would have taken you about a week to get to the edge of the Collation Grove, by like sort of lip of the mountains, probably going to be closer to a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks.
While I'm on my... Ava just barked. I've never... My dog doesn't bark. While I'm on this horse, I look up into the sky and I go, Ishtaba, was there really no way for you to teleport us closer? Was this the deal you wanted? Was for us to get lost in the forest? Because we're not going to get your shit done if this is going to take a week and a half.
The sun is still up, and you get no response.
She's not answering.
I'm gonna cast to try to help our our travels, I'm gonna use speak with animals.
Okay.
To like ask the little woodland creatures to help us on our way and help us avoid anything that might be bad.
Okay.
Like Snow White.
Yes. But an asshole.
Yeah. You cast this on yourself. And are you looking for any animals particularly, or just any ones that you see?
Squirrels or birds, and yeah.
Lot of birds.
A lot of birds.
A lot of like colourful sparrows and small little avian creatures.
Can I try to be like? Can I try to like call one over? Be like, hey. No, I do not sing. I'm like, hey. I got some feed and a nice conversation.
What if it's one of the Kirahan birds?
And
You talking to me, mate?
Yep. Just for a minute. Has no one ever spoken to you? Did I accidentally start talking to Kirahan himself? Just like,
cheap. Tweet.
wait, what the fuck?
Yes. Tweet.
I cast a spell to speak with you.
Shit. What?
Hello.
Is it really food down there?
Yeah, I have some food.
Well, this is definitely a Kirahan bird.
Did we accidentally
Those
run into
voracious
Kirahan?
beasts.
I'm wondering if it is
we-
Kirahan.
Yeah, let's find that out.
You're not gonna like string me up or cook me for. I don't have much meat on me. I'm not gonna make a good.
We have food. We have this big horse. If our friend doesn't come back, we'll just eat that. Don't worry about it.
What kind of meat you got? You got treats? What kind of food we talking? Good snacks?
We have fucking like birds. What do we?
Yeah, I got some nuts. I can't hear this bird.
Attaching balls to sacks. I got these.
I turn around and I say, do we have like little like?
Yeah, I got some like nuts.
Okay.
Some seeds.
I take like a handful of seeds and nuts and just kind of like shake
It's
them.
ye olde trail mix, steampunk trail mix.
Yeah. What about anything sweet?
This bird is a cocaine addict.
What the? What's his name from the bakery?
I probably have. Oh, we would have packed at least.
Of course.
It's like
Definitely have
a
saved one of a couple.
I break off a little piece of one of the. What were they?
cinnamon
Sweet buns.
It was like sweet rolls.
Yeah.
Icy
Yeah.
rolls.
Yeah.
I take off a piece of the sweet roll and put it back in my, and just kind of like, feel like I got something sweet.
Sorry, I'm not even there, and I'm over here like singing.
Yeah, I'm there for it. Yeah. You got. What about
Oh my god, just come here for a second.
I don't know. It's a risk, isn't it?
You
I've
know
never been
what?
spoken to in the woods. What was supposed to? Give me the whole bun. Give me the whole bun.
No.
Then I'm not coming over.
Do you know which direction the mountains are in?
Do I know which way? Yeah, of course I know which way the mountains are. Do I know which way the mountains? Like, have you never spoken to a bird before?
No.
Oh, great. First person I speak to, somebody who's never spoken to a bird before. Yeah, give me the old bun and we'll talk.
I'm gonna kill this fucking bird.
I desperately want it to be Kirahan.
It's just like a little plump, beady-eyed sparrow that like has mostly like mottled, sort of dull green feathers, a little iridescent plumage at the back of the tail and wings.
Does it have teeth?
It's got a beak so far.
Okay.
What you say to that deal then?
Half of the bun. And you get the whole bun if you help me out with my second thing I was going to ask.
Fuck it, I'll take it. And it just like swoops down and are you still on your horse?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just perches like between
On the
your
horse's head.
ears.
Yeah.
Sort of hopping back and well, let's have it then.
I'll hand over the small piece first and break off half.
Animaniac style, the beak just like stretches and like
Damn
boing.
it. God damn it. Uh-oh.
No teeth, but just oh, that was nice.
That's real
So
close to
Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. That'll do.
So what's your name?
Bird.
Cool.
Do I? Well, I don't.
We
care.
we just need directions essentially. We're a little bit lost and we just want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Mountains, right?
The dragon spine.
Yes.
Dragon spine.
I mean,
Tell in the big two mountains with the valley in between. You know, kind of. It's like, you know, it's really two really tall mountains and a valley in between.
Yeah, it's two tall mountains with a valley in between. It's kind of like a.
that yes.
Jump.
I mean, it's.
I was thinking boobs.
Oh,
it's hard to.
that's fair.
Yes. Can you fly?
We cannot.
Why?
Well, how can you fly?
Because.
Think that through, though.
Not much to say. Got wings in it.
Well, do you see wings on us?
I don't know. People hide things. You hiding half a bun there.
We don't have wings.
That makes it slow.
Yes.
How are you gonna get there?
We are going to use these horses and walk.
Okay, you're doing that. It's the way you're going. Up.
This has been
If you have more food, I can maybe take you.
extremely unhelpful.
You can. I can't talk to this bird. I'm shutting up.
If you got more good things, I could stick around. Give me treats.
Get a pet. A pet that may or may not be connected to Kirahan.
I'm like, all right, yeah. I only have this one sweet bun though, and I did want it for later, but like,
Well-
we'll get more things and
Yes, if I at least get one sizable big person treat a day, will be good. Treats that are sizably different than I am would be nice. Because I don't get those in the woods.
great. Okay. So how do you wanna like fly up and we'll kind of like follow you, and then
How else would I do it?
sure. I don't know. I haven't done this before. Just let us know if there's any like thing we need to avoid ahead in the forest.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Are there like dangerous creatures?
To me or to you?
To me.
Don't know.
Okay, but you know what that is, right? Like something comes to mind when I say these things.
Like a fox?
Bigger than that.
Bigger? Well, yes.
Okay.
Bigger than foxes, yes. A fox isn't dangerous to you.
No.
I would like to live like that.
I want to be where the people are.
I would like to live like that very much.
Well, maybe
There are things. Well, there aren't many
at some
foxes
point
in this
when,
forest.
when Angelo can cast True Polymorph, we'll make you a real boy. All right.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll take that.
We,
Can I have the other half the bread now?
I said that I wanted the other half.
Well, you said there was something else you wanted, and I would get it then. What's the other thing?
I just wanted to get help. I don't know. This has gone a lot. I'm 0 for 2 with interactions today.
You want me to? I can go that way and then come back.
I'll keep giving you treats. You can help lead us. And then like if you see anything that is like suspicious that you think might be like something we should know, like if there's other like people like us up ahead, and then come down and kind of let. I only have this for 10 minutes though, so I won't be able to speak constantly to you.
I will yell.
Right. Great.
If it scares me, I will come back and yell.
I love this bird.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Great.
Yes? Good?
Yes.
Small piece of bread.
I give him a small piece of
Boing! And then it just takes off, like, gone for maybe 20 seconds, comes back, sits on the top of the horse's head. Good to go. See you soon.
goes away again. I'm talking like every 20 seconds. This bird is gonna like.
Can you take more time? Like, you fly around a little bit. You can do your own thing. You don't have to be right here.
Don't tell the bird how to do its job.
Okay,
We're moving, by the way.
Come on, Drew.
I'll give it a go. Okay. And with this bird, like,
My fucking Christ.
this crack addict of a bird just like circling around you for the rest of the day, that's where I'm gonna pan down on this story.
Great.
I need to stop trying to help.
Angelo,
Mm-hmm.
with that nat 20 for a total of 28 in the perception check, shortly after you've just sent your last message to Terra, there are two things you pick up on, and they're both linked to just this sort of like not just the humidity of the air, but the humidity of the magic, the density of magic in the air. First of all, you can feel traces of lingering spellwork beneath your feet. When you look down at the ground, it's sort of hidden by the really thick undergrowth here, but you can see slight ridges in the ground around you that look like maybe the vestiges of a like enchantment like moment, a magic circle, a teleportation circle, something. There's some kind of spellwork, engraved spellwork under the forest floor or within the forest floor here. The other thing, and you felt it, you initially just felt like nebulous magic pressure, but now after the past couple minutes have gone by of you standing in the forest here, you can feel encroaching energy coming towards you. And I say that literally just meaning like the magical energy that a living being carries with them. You can feel like you just are aware that something or some things are coming towards you.
Well, I ain't no bitch. I'm gonna go toward them and follow it.
So that Angelo says that to himself. He's like, bitch.
What am I doing?
Okay. You like can feel that pressure coming towards you, and you go like, all right, let's see what we go.
I do. Sorry, draw my weapon just in case.
Which one?
We'll do the dagger for right now.
Cool. Just like brace and ready to go.
Yeah.
As you move forwards through these like this beautiful, rich emerald, almost jungle here, you sort of are meeting that pressure in the middle, and you come out from a small copse of like, rich flora into a slightly more terraformed portion of jungle where the trees are parted on either sides, with a like plated bronze metal almost pavement strip running up in front of you, and coming down that pavement strip are three figures. Two of them flanking on either side look pretty similar. They are in completely head to toe in that same like white robe / like bronze chainmail ceremonial armor, all the way down to the feet, running towards you, like draped white hood and half cloak over the top of the shoulders, with serpentine faces poking out of them. And in the center is, I don't know how to say it other than a very, very, very large cobra with beautiful silver scales adorned with a lot of gilding on the scales, this bronze gilding, two arms, one of which is carrying like a kind of a wand thing, the other is holding like a book of some sorts, as they slither and run down this pathway towards you. But you emerging from the tree line onto or near the verge of the pathway sort of stops them in their tracks. There's about 30 feet between the pair of you, or between you and the group of the three of them. And you can hear them, all three of them, making those strange noises. Just back and forth, but they're still.
Excuse me. fair people.
They go silent for a moment. The two hooded ones look up to the larger cobra. It moves forwards a little bit.
Who are you?
I'm Angelo. Who are you?
I am a Grand Priest of Fate.
That's pretty vague. Okay. I met some people in the woods, different woods than this woods. Bald Top, Deanna, something like that. They gave me a navigating device, and I tried to use it, and I appeared here.
It lets go of the wand, which like fragments into these small little geometric shapes that stick around the cover of the book, which it then sends hovering behind its back as it clasps its arms behind its shoulders and slithers up towards you. Gives you a little nod.
But of course, we should have foreseen such things. Your description smells as honest, and as such, you would become an honored guest.
A guest of what?
A guest of Sebikos.
Interesting. And where is this?
Along the path of the sun.
As it sort of gestures towards the metal on which it stands, quote unquote, stands.
You would be most welcome as our first distinguished visitor.
Okay. And if I wanted to meet back up with my friends, how would I do such a thing?
Ah, indeed. It is perhaps a more complicated matter, but one we could see to.
Okay. As long as you can help me.
Of course. There is nothing we cannot do.
Okay. That's a little unsettling, but sure, if you can help me out, I would be honored to be an honored guest.
That is how it works.
Yeah.
Of course. Such would be the way. I must say I envy you. Your ability to see our way of life with fresh eyes. It is something I would wish to do myself.
But you live.
Precisely.
Okay.
Precisely.
Understood. I think.
Come.
Okay.
We will show you to our great city. You may follow.
That's the last we ever heard.
And roll a new character. You're gonna get fucking sacrificed.
The large cobra turns around and sort of slithers down this bronze pathway, the bronze plate road, if you will. It sort of gestures towards the two attendants here, the hooded attendants, the armed attendants, who clearly acknowledge it. They give a deep bow to you. A full, like...
Angelo, uncomfortable, bows just the same back.
And then they turn and follow this cobra. Do you follow?
I do. I still hold the dagger with a tight grip.
Okay. As the cobra slithers, again, are you keeping that 30-foot distance, or are you closing at me?
I'll keep the distance.
It slithers, and as it gets a little further down, sort of slightly bending around the horizon of where you saw them running down this path, you watch as the cobra raises their left hand, and the bronze plates in the ground sort of hum a little bit and separate, and it becomes a separated stairway leading upwards through and above the canopy. Cobra looks down towards you. Welcome. As it slithers, and just as it breaches the where the canopy would be, it almost like ripples through a heat haze mirage and disappears. The other two attendees do the same, leaving you on this like literal like separated floating stairway in the middle of a fucking jungle.
Hello? Okay. I go up the stairs.
Okay. You go up the stairs, you feel that humidity intensify, almost like a wave washing over you as you breach, sort of stepping on these like impossible magical stairs up, and as you breach that canopy and that humidity washes over you, it's like the sky shimmers, and almost like a mirage coming into play, where the canopy in the open air should be, hovering above the jungle, is a glittering city. At the center is it's like two bronze sleek pyramids stacked on top of each other at a base, with one point going up, one point going down. Flanging from that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 separate pathways of these like floating bronze little platelets stemming out in each of the directions, one from each side of the pyramid, one from each corner of the pyramid, all leading to smaller versions of that central structure with other little floating structures in between, all of it gilded in beautiful bronze. And from the center of this floating pyramid, the floating double pyramid right in the heart of all of it, almost as if the downwards facing point broke apart, there is this pulsating trunk of like veined, white, translucent grey flesh that goes down from the center of the middle pyramid and goes through the forest canopy down to the ground in what you can presume is the center of this structure. As you are welcomed. Yeah.
Fleshy
I mean,
dick tree is what I wrote.
yeah. Welcome to Sepikos. Let's take our 15 because I have to figure out what the fuck's going on. Thanks, chat, for coming along this ride with us here. This is not where I was expecting to go today, but that's what a number of weird rolls will get us.
This episode's called Oops.
Okay,
cool.
Let's come back at just around 8:30ish.
8:30. Thank you, 8:30.
See you shortly.
Rock and roll.
alive.
We are.
Oh, then
back.
the camera is.
Oh no! Oh no!
No,
It's just
no.
like, have you ever seen those like World War II propaganda things where it's just somebody's like face and nose over a wall, being like, "What? No cheese? What? No?
No.
Great. Well, that's what that was.
We're
So,
from America.
for many of my people who, there's nowhere I can run with that. Nowhere legitimate I can run with that because I don't think we have any World War II veterans in our subscribers.
Hey, you never know.
Well, chat, if you also fought and survived World War II, I would love to hear about it.
Join our Discord.
But yeah, that we'll open a channel for you. If any of you happen to be that, I will make a channel for you to tell us about that.
I'd love to hear it.
But without any further ado, let's jump back into this mess of a session. I'm gonna stick with you, Angelo, for a moment, just because we spent a little longer on birding out over here back in the woods.
I'm gonna eat this off screen then.
I mean, you can feel free to eat it
He's
right.
gonna go to the green room.
I feel self-conscious.
Okay, so you are this glittering, floating mirage of a city stands before you, and even as you're sort of ascending these floating stairs towards that continuing bronze pathway that leads to this strange metropolis, you can see from here there are like serpent folk of all shapes and sizes, and I mean all shapes and sizes, just moving about their business throughout the periphery of this city. There seems to be some kind of a larger hubbub happening nearer the center of it. But your three initial greeters, that Grand Priest and the two attendants here, are still marching, sliding, slithering right ahead of you, moving down this path. You gonna follow him?
Yeah.
Okay. They slow for a little, seemingly at the behest of the Grand Priest, and they sort of wait for you kind of to catch up with them. At which point the Grand Priest kind of like sort of coils around you a little bit, almost as if they were more human statured, they would like throw their arm around you, but they're a little bigger than that. So they're just sort of like getting around to your level, sort of enveloping you in their presence as they sort of walk and slide along with you. Do you like what you see?
And you're referring to you or the scenery?
I will accept as an answer.
Sure. This is new. It's intriguing, really. But I do have somewhere to be. And I really would love to take in all of this beautiful architecture and all of you beautiful whatever you are.
You seem disappointed.
I'm not disappointed in any way. I feel a bit of anxiety leaving my friends.
Well, we could arrange to have them brought here.
Well, they didn't want to come yet.
I don't recall asking if they wanted to.
Well, I asked them to join me using the navigator, but they said there were more pressing matters. And so I told them that I would meet them.
Perhaps that simply determines your level of destined intellect. Perhaps you are more prescient than those whom you have traveled with before. It would seem you were destined to arrive here.
I wouldn't... Sure, I guess. When you do things without... You know, when you think before you act. Kind of just...
Indeed. You are like our... What is the best way to say it? Is my common acceptable to you, first of all?
It is. You're easily understood.
this is good. They have not had much practice. Not practically. It is more theoretical. The way we would call it for you, you describe act without thinking. It is what our circle of the skin, they practice.
Circle of the skin.
We are... and he sort of, kind of like, ushers you and hurries you down this main thoroughfare to get a little further into the auspices of this metropolis. He gestures out towards you as you can start to see people on the outskirts, even as they're moving from like floating pyramid hut to roadway to wherever, doing whatever they're doing, sort of looking your way a little bit. This priest gestures towards the like 8-pronged pathways and slightly smaller building, or the sub-buildings at the end of each pathway. We are divided, you see. At birth, when we are hatched, we are given a task based on our own destined paths. One of these, and it points to the one at like 11 o'clock. They are proctors of evolution. They are those who determine how the physical world reacts to our instinct. Not thinkers of the mind, but thinkers of the body and of the spirit. And what you describe in your process in arriving here sounds quite similar. Perhaps we should usher you there before we decide whether or not you want to live.
You know, sure. Be willing to take a little trip.
Perfection. I am sure you'll be lavished with attention as you pass through our city here. Would you like me to guide you, or would you like to take the, how you say, the more scenic?
Yes.
route?
Yeah. I would enjoy your guidance. I feel I would be better off with someone who's familiar with this place.
But of course, I can use this for you. The two attendants, again, to you and not the Grand Priest, give like a kneeling bow, and they dash down the main pathway ahead of you. Come. I will demonstrate what we have. As he moves you down the center pathway. Here is the Venom Exchange. It is how we decide amongst ourselves what is to be done. The circle of the skin, as I said.
Right.
Behind our grand temple labor the Stormhood. They seek perfection through magic. Our shed cloaks, the ones who do the work and predetermine what must be unseen. Keeping the balance between life, death, and secret. It is a necessary evil, perhaps.
Okay.
The Sun Song Syndicate, working closely with the Venom Exchange. All important to how we do everything, our clutchcraft. The builders, the makers. They keep us afloat. And then beneath us somewhere, the pesky land tithe. Perhaps they believe the island is more important than we are. A part of our society, but not one I have. Dead silence. Nothing's moving. No one's talking. The birds aren't singing. The wind's not blowing. The hum of the magic holding these structures up. Still.
feel a little on your shoulder. Turn around. Just right as you've like walked or slithered with this Grand Priest up through the main thoroughfare towards the circular pathway that surrounds the center temple, where all the different branching pathways come up from. Where there wasn't anything on the pathway directly behind you, there now is this shitty little trundling wooden wagon. And it is covered in cloth and hung with a bunch of like glass baubles and bottles filled with like nasty looking liquid, some glowing, some not. And standing right in front of the cart, clearly having just tapped you on the shoulder, hunched over, is this repulsive looking half-elf man. Wispy grey hair, like pointed ears, one of them with a notch in them, some like rusted earrings, grab dray, like traveler's wear, almost looks like a ratty prison garment, and like a crook, wooden little pole used to stand. Are you interested in buying any of my wares?
Sorry, where did you come from with... What?
Do you not see? I have always been here. I was right here when you walked in. Now please, peruse my fine potions and beverages, poultices, and waxes.
Okay, sure. I will look around.
Yeah. Just looking in general, or looking for anything in particular?
Just in general for right now. I don't have any.
They look old, right? And even if you're looking at things that look like health potions, instead of the glittering, like, sort of shimmering red liquid, these are, like, clotted blood. Like, chunky as well. Things that look like potions of haste, these, like, lightning, crackling liquids, are little vials of swirling, like, puce-looking liquid with things moving in them. A couple interesting looking things. There is what looks to be a small, like stone tablet wrapped in cloth with like a wax seal on it. There is a something that looks like a potion maker's kit, all bundled up in like a leather satchel. A few little interesting items, but for the most part, it's all kind of grungy.
This stuff looks less than okay.
Do you insult my wares, Trevor?
No, I just mean to say that I don't think you've sold in quite a while.
Perhaps. Perhaps not.
Well, all that aside, do you have anything that may help me reach my friends?
Your friends, Trevor?
Yes.
2 of them, per se? Is it being said?
Yeah, don't worry, keep going.
Do you perhaps happen to travel with 2 friends?
Yes.
Have we met before, Trevor?
Have we?
That is indeed what I asked.
I'm not sure. What are you called?
If it perhaps is of import to you, what names people carry, what kind vendors of wares and unctuous goods may go by, then you are free, at your best, to call me Halifax.
And okay, so Halifax.
Indeed.
I remember hearing
Something about Halifax. You don't perchance have a horse, do you? An unusual horse.
Actually, there is one I do see in my dreams at times. One that visits and speaks to me. It's a winged horse.
He gets way too close to you, like right up in your personal space, and he smells so rancid, like sea salt, kelp, and like piss. Really, like this awful conglomeration. Oh yes, you dream, don't you?
Yeah, but I figured most people do when they sleep.
You dream of.
I see a three-eyed man with blue skin sometimes, and I see a winged horse.
So we have met before. That's what I thought.
Are you the horse?
Sometimes, perhaps, but not your horse.
Okay.
I would not stress on it, traveler. There's someone else doing that for you, I think.
Okay. So back to what I need. Is there a way that you can help me?
Perhaps. Perhaps not, of all things. If I was in the helping mood, would you be?
Yeah. I'm always willing to do a trade of services.
A trade of services. You aren't by chance heading to the mountains, are you?
Yes. Yes. That is exactly where I intend to go. The Dragon Spine Mountains?
Yes, those very mountains.
Yes.
Well, if you were to be returned to your path by the Dragon's Spine Mountains, perhaps we could strike some sort of an agreement.
And what is this agreement?
You see, there is something I want.
Okay.
Something that I have not been able to acquire in some time. And perhaps, while you are up there, you might retrieve it for me.
Tell me what it is, and I can do that.
It is a stone. A carved stone.
Okay.
You'll know it when you see it.
Okay.
And we will converse more once you approach.
And I'm assuming something like this will happen again when...
Oh, no, not quite, not quite. I will leave you a writ of agreement, should you agree to such a deal. For I think I could see my way clear to returning you to your path. Not that I don't appreciate your presence in this place.
And I do appreciate your hospitality, and I actually would love to return, but there are more pressing matters.
Of course, traveler, there are always pressing matters. And perhaps by the time you return, you'll be more inclined to take a better look at some of my wares. Perhaps even impart with you. Would that seem pleasing to you?
It does.
Good. Good. Very good. Well, do I have your word then? That you will agree to be called upon once your task in the mountains is finished, of course. You will reach a secondary stage of argument upon such time. Sure. Upon the accurate return of your true travel.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Then I may ask you, and he sort of lets go of the cane, which just isn't there anymore. Would you give me your hand, traveler?
Does he sit on this one?
Lay down flat. Other way. Closer.
and his eyes just roll back in his head, and he just puts his mouth around your hand, like in all the way to the wrist, and you feel like a fever heat rise up your body. This whine, this like as if a grenade had just gone off by your head. This high-pitched whine, and the sky tilts red, white, and black, and everything goes dark.
Is he fucking Pennywise or some shit?
We'll come back to that
Okay.
in a bit.
My hand feels weird. It didn't even touch anything.
You're dead.
The power of the mind.
To my two forest goers.
Nobody better be sucking on my fingers.
Describe the day for me. Have you just been like following this dumb crackhead bird?
I mean, essentially, like, I don't think there's not something to do other than that, right?
No, I think while we're going, I read my smut aloud to Ignis. And I do voices.
Oh, sure,
Uh-huh.
sure.
At first, I listened begrudgingly, but then like by the end of the, like later in the day, you get like when you're at a part where it's a little bit more like dramatic. I'm like listening very intently.
More invested.
Like-
as
like
the
I'm
day
in
goes
it.
on, yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
a really the plot gets incredibly soapy
Yeah.
midway through.
And it's one of those things where it's just like if you keep watching,
Yeah.
at some point your brain just latches on to
It
whatever
chooses
it
to.
can.
Yeah.
Because like
It's the only thing it
needs
can.
to.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
it's
at
like-
this point, it's like either
It's just
ignore
like
it
I'm
or-
here.
Yeah, it's. I mean, so how far along do you think you are in this book?
I would say about a little over halfway.
Oh yeah,
A
okay.
little over halfway.
Perfect. So you're deep in what is effectively a tryst with the main character's brother. Because am I crazy? Was this about the something in the succubus? Was it not?
I did not write
Well,
it down. I'll find out.
If it wasn't, that's what it is.
It is now.
It's like effectively like the dragonkin soldier and the succubus.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And it's the first in the series. It has become clear, the succubus, initially summoned to alleviate the weary woes of being a hardened soldier and mercenary, is now catching feelings. But they're also being summoned by the soldier's brother, who doesn't know that the soldier has initially summoned it. So the succubus is being pulled in two directions. It's love or duty on all sides, and it's always, there is never not a steamy, sexy scene happening. Like it is
loads
one
left
from
and
yeah, one to
Wow.
another to another. It is the epitome of I watch porn for the story, right? Like that is exactly where it's at. And every single situation that you can possibly think of being like in the book, like they go to the shop at one point, somebody is getting blown, right? Blown or brought to climax in some way. Like it is just absurd.
Excellent.
But the plot, like the cocks, only thicken.
Oh my god, I hate it.
And by the end of day one, it's seeming like the succubus might actually end up choosing duty over love. Middle of the book.
Wait, is this essentially like Moulin Rouge? Because now it's Moulin Rouge in my mind.
It's Moulin Rouge with infernal contracts.
Yes.
It's basically.
Oh my god. Satine.
Oh my god, I kind of love it.
You can tell everybody.
I'm kind of weirdly here for this. Somebody needs to write this. I'm trying to think of like a catchy name, but I'll get there. At least throughout day one, this bird has effectively skirted you away from danger. There have only been a couple moments where it's come back and landed on the horse and been like, and then we'll fly slightly off in a different direction and like hover there
Follow.
until
We kind of like,
yeah.
course correct.
Come on, Drew.
Literally every time you stop on the horses, Drew the horse just goes down to the grass. Or less out of actually eating it, more just out of habit.
Drew loves
Right.
grass.
Yeah, Drew does love grass.
I don't know if that's a euphemism, but I feel weirdly connected to that in some way.
Night 1. Angelo has not returned.
I send a message to Angelo.
Sending.
Angelo, please tell me you're alive, and where you are, and when you're coming back.
Initially, there is not the instantaneous reply. But words appear in the book. My wares are many and plentiful. Wouldst thou like a taste?
I look at my
Are
book.
you reading the smut
I
book?
look at my book, and then I look at the smut book, and I just to make sure.
I was writing in the
I was
wrong
like,
one.
am I writing the right book?
My wares are
Imagine
many and plentiful.
A book that the enchantment is that you can sext with it.
It's choose your own adventure, but sexting.
Yeah. Like you just
I hate
write
it.
things
I
in
hate
the
it.
book
Back to my
and
own
it just
family
I
job.
responds.
hate it.
That's I feel like that would, if that in the magical world, that would sell like hotcakes. Just a simple enchantment that just like responds in smutty ways.
Yeah.
I shake Ignis awake. Ignis.
What?
I just messaged Angelo,
Okay.
and he said, my wares are many and plentiful. Would you like a taste? That doesn't sound like Angelo, does it? I have not been reading smut to Angelo. He's too young.
Hey, we're not even that young.
Okay. I don't know how sending works. This is. How would it not be Angelo?
I don't know.
Well, at least it isn't help, I'm dying, help. So
That's true.
maybe he's okay.
Okay. I write back, a taste of what?
My ways, my potions. A taste. Of
Again, there's a
destiny.
little too long of a break
Uh-huh.
before the response comes. Whatever thou desirest, I have it in my store. What dost thou find thou needst?
Put Angelo. Right, Angelo.
Angelo. Emethios. It's not some other
Yeah.
random Angelo.
Hello, it's a me.
It's a me,
Angelo.
What the fuck am I doing here?
How can I help?
And that's how we bring in our guest.
Oh no, I do not have spells.
There is a brief
I'm a simple plumber.
scratching before a word, like this little like symbol. It's like like pointed, sloped circle. It's like a circle of it crossbred with a triangle, with a little line down the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then beneath that, what are thou willing to give?
Say nothing. Bringing back,
My belief in whatever entity you are.
comma, bitch. I don't know.
I can't make
Damn,
another
good
deal.
thing Ignis is not writing in this book.
I know.
I'm just tired. I want to go to bed. It's been a long day. I've been dealing with this crazy fucking bird.
Ooh.
The bird, now that you've stopped, the bird is just like literally like not leaving you alone. Just
I write. The eyes of one of the god killers.
there is a long pause. Wouldst thou give thine word? The word is capitalized.
Do it.
I've already made one deal.
At least this is less, like, important. One's about your kid. One's about
Some eyeballs.
an eyeball and Angelo. So.
It all comes back to Angelo's balls.
I mean, they're in Drew's sack, so
Yes.
we don't have to worry about it.
Yes. If you give yours.
Quite quickly, the response comes. My word is thine. Lay thy weary head to west. Lay thy weary head to rest.
Don't you cry no more.
I was about to say, goo, 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 goo.
And I shall provide thee with my wares.
This person who is definitely not Angelo says that we should go to sleep.
Yes. Great. I'm already asleep.
Okay.
You say that, but this bird is definitely like giving your little toes a peck every 5 or so minutes for treats.
Sleep.
I'm gonna kill the bird.
I kill the bird.
I can't speak of animals yet until after a long rest, so. Can you? I
give it
look
a
at
look.
it like, can you understand me? Relax. Can I like roll like an animal handling check or something?
Just like knock it out.
Like just like chill. I throw like a little thing, like a I don't know. I don't have any sweetbread left. You ate the fucking sweetbread.
It just doesn't have object permanence whatsoever.
You ate it.
Which one of you guys ate my lollipop?
You give it like a piece of like what, like whatever the nut part of the ration is.
Yeah.
You give it your nut. You give it your seed.
Oh my god.
I'm so glad we did that phrasing emoji.
And it starts to like go for this little thing. It goes to like expand its mouth, but it stops and just does it really slowly.
Yep. Good. We're gonna sleep right now. You sleep, right? I think you sleep. You're simply a bird. Unless you're a deity.
Unless you're a deity.
He squints it really hard.
Insight check. 9.
It's a fucking
Or
bird,
19
man.
actually.
19? As far as you're aware,
It's a bird.
It's a bird. It's absolutely a bird.
It was more of a joke.
Are you like lying down dealing
Yeah.
with it? So it sort of stands there for a moment and then hops over and just like nestles into whatever loose folds of clothing you've got. And just
That's cute.
This is okay. I like carefully just like pat it on its head.
Oh.
And I go to sleep.
and it just knocks out. Conked.
Thank fucking Christ.
I go back to reading my smut.
My hand slowly curls around its neck.
Just Are you actually? Okay. I just wanted to be sure.
But the rabbit's short.
The
rabbits.
Okay.
Ignis, I'll tell you what happens in the book so that you'll be caught up tomorrow. Good night.
You're sitting there in this little like makeshift camp, sort of just like in the trees here. And as you're reading the smut, it goes from this chapter where the main character soldier has like rushed into the barracks to try and find his brother, who he's figuring out is like dealing with the succubus. And it turns out that the entire barracks is having some kind of a large orgy. And it's in the middle of going into great detail about this like soldier, like mercenary troop orgy. And you turn the page and it's like the author starts writing a different story mid-sentence. It's, you know, something absolutely ridiculous and obscene, and the clouds began to part once twilight fell. The shining comet from far fields drifted through the twilight skies, falling listlessly to its eventual catastrophe. However, on shining wings and silent hooves, its course was changed. And it starts going on in great, like, Dickensian detail about this event, when this meteorite was careening to some surface and its course was averted by an aerial rider. And how when this great shining celestial light crashed into the surface of the water, new life sprung from the melding of the heat and the steam and the cosmos and the water itself. And as this, like, language, this excessively flowery prose just waxes on and on and on, you feel a sensation you haven't felt in a very long time. Your eyes begin to get heavy. And no matter how hard you try and keep them open, they just won't stay open. You can't stay away, and you fall almost into the book, and you spiral until you are seated in your house. It is pristine, just as it was like a couple years ago. You're in your whatever your kitchen setup was, and at the other end of your table, staring right back at you, is Stella and Inez. Just
hello? Hello? I walk up and look at Stella.
there's a warmth to her, but she doesn't move or flinch.
I try to brush her hair back behind her ear.
Brush it, and her whole scalp goes with it.
No. I look at Inez and I try to, like, shake her.
Inez just turns away from you, still seated at the table, as the air just gets stale.
Ishtava? Inez? And I, like, grab Stella and try to, like...
Every time you touch her, more parts of her skin just, like, melt away like hot wax, revealing this smooth, cool, silvery skeletal structure underneath. She just tilts her head towards you as, like, one eye socket melts away, revealing, like, trickling green light from underneath. Mom?
Hi, baby.
Oh. And the green flame spills from her mouth and her head, and it catches the table and the curtains, and all of the kitchen goes up in this languid Icarus green flame that spreads throughout the house. It is blistering and freezing all at once, and you've just got this vestigial, almost spectre of Stella where she was sitting engulfed in this fire. Inez is gone, removed in that dreamlike way where things were and then aren't, and the flames are and then aren't, as everything is gone except for the glittering, hot topic black cosmos as this hooded figure looms large above everything.
And it's with that visage leering down at you that you feel yourself fall again. And the sun has risen. And the forest has shifted. You can see light not only coming in from the east, but bleeding in more thoroughly almost in front of you northwards, as the tree line looks much thinner and the air is much cooler. And if you squint past the tree line, perhaps you can see some slate-colored stone rising against the horizon past the trees. And next to you, there lie the horses somewhere. There is your sister, bird and all, and starfished on the ground next to Ignis is Angelo. The dawn breaks, and the pair of you rise. You find yourself in a forest not quite like the one you fell asleep in, and you, a little discombobulated and jet-lagged.
Oh, goodness.
Are you okay?
Oh, I'm fine. It's just
What happened?
I just had a bad dream. That's all. Hi.
The fuck were you?
Well, I know I'm glad to be back. That was on an island somewhere. That was hovering above the trees of a jungle. And there were the snake people we met in the forest. Remember how they told us we could get to them with that device? Well, that's where I went. And I met a weird old half-elf who stopped time. He told me he was called Halifax. And I just have this faint feeling that I remember that name. It's of some importance. My father has spoken about it before, but I don't know. But either way, I had him bring me back.
You had him bring you back?
Is that the same thing
'Cause
as what you were doing last night with the book?
Because I was talking to somebody who was supposed to be you but wasn't you, and I made a deal to bring you back.
I also made a deal to come back.
Oh.
As you look at each other, you can each feel like a weird, specifically when you guys lock eyes, you can feel like a strange little vibration. It's like somebody whacked a tuning fork somewhere inside your sternum, and that vibration resonates and carries down each of your left arms, where it coalesces on the back side of your left hand. And when each of you look there, there is a symbol. It is a circle, almost serpentine eye, like just this green circle with a slitted pupil down the middle of it, with a point at the top and 2 points on either side. And unlike a tattoo, it seems to linger on a surface above your skin. When you flex your hand or move it or pull at your skin, the symbol doesn't move at all. It remains perfectly still and static.
Seemingly this person double dipped. Or entity, I guess. You're back, and that's good. We should keep moving.
Yeah. The smut book got really weird. So I'll have to read those chapters to you because I don't think I can explain them.
Okay. Let's pack up camp.
Where are we?
Closer to our destination.
I lift up the bird.
Just
out to lunch, just slumbered, slept, curled up.
Is it dead?
You can see. I mean, it's
Okay, it's breathing. Okay.
Morning.
What is that?
It's a bird. Are you?
Why do you have a bird?
Wake up.
Hey,
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey. Hey, Jeffrey.
Barnabas? I don't know. Barnabas? Okay. Hi.
and it like looks around, flutters out, does a loop around you guys, shoots up towards the tree line. You hear it like not too far in the distance. It's still almost visible. It flutters back to you, sort of hops around, like jumps from shoulder to shoulder to shoulder of all three of you, then darts ahead, darts back, and just like lands on your pack wherever you've been getting the rations from.
It seems like it's a good sign.
I give it a treat.
No!
All right, we have our heading. Let's everybody saddle up. And while we're packing up, I pull Terra aside. You okay?
I fell asleep, which was weird,
I clocked that.
and it was just
Also, no one was keeping watch, so smooth.
well, at least I didn't get us lost.
That's fair.
I was just back in the house, and Stella and Inez were there. I'm just worried that Stella is... I'm worried that Stella's like them. Because in the dream, I tried to touch her, and she turned into and then she spouted fire. And it was probably just stress and a bad dream, and
How did it end?
everything burned away, and then I fell into being awake. And before that, actually, there was this moment where it all burned away, and there was like space, like the night sky, like the
Sure.
glitter that comes out of me when I do magic, and a hooded figure, but I couldn't tell if it was Ishtava or if it was somebody else.
Well, first off, I'm sorry. Dreams suck.
Yeah,
I don't think that. I don't know. I guess look at it this way. Either it is simply a dream in which you can't take any specific thing to mean any specific thing, and it is all just dream stuff, or it was like a vision or something, like imposed by, I don't know, either Ishtava or and in that scenario there's no way to trust at all what you're seeing. So I think either way you look at it, it's just a dream.
I'm just playing the what if game now, so I'm thinking about all the... If Stella is alive, like, Vindictus said. And if Stella isn't alive in the way that we knew her, like Ishtava said,
then we'll fix it. I mean, there's gotta be a way to do whatever we would need, right? Like if she is not dead and like completely gone, then that means that in some way we can find her, and then we can fix it. We'll fix it. Okay?
okay.
Let's get going.
Okay. So you guys are, with that set up, like, grabbing at things and moving out?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Following the bird. Barnabas. Barney.
Are you taking the navigator device from your horse, or are you keeping it there?
I take it from Angelo, and I keep it.
You don't have to do that. I figured out why I did what I did.
Uh-huh.
And I know not to do it again, unless we need to. And furthermore, I've learned that I should investigate something before turning it on.
The smart book teaches the same thing, actually. Funnily enough. Okay, so carefully pocketing that again, you guys set out.
I opened my smut book to before I read.
Chapter 12.
So like right at the beginning of the
orgy.
mercenary orgy.
Yes, at the
Yeah.
beginning of the orgy.
Yeah.
I just picture the from Mulan. We are men. You must be swift
Yeah.
as a horse.
Yeah, it's like that, but they're all just like going to the pros, absolutely going for it.
As one should at an orgy, you would hope.
And as you start reading it out loud,
There's one person who's
It-
a little shy.
Half-assed.
it, you know, as you turn the page, as it goes from like, you know, the orgy, instead of it turning into this strange story about a comet, it actually is revealed that most of the mercenaries are actually all shapeshifters. So it was a stunt put on by the succubus to distract attention.
What?
Huh. That's weird. When I read this last night, this wasn't what I read.
What are you reading?
It's literature.
Okay.
It's a story.
It's high art.
It's high art. It's a story about love.
I like romance novels.
You like love stories?
Yeah, love stories are great.
Okay.
Were you intentionally quoting Moulin Rouge just there?
No.
Because
the
that was
tagline for more.
It's a story about love. And most of all, a woman.
And most of all, a succubus.
Okay.
You're sort of trying to like find the best way to describe this story as you're trundling across, and you actually reach this tree line. The trees have been very sparse anyway, much less dense than they were, and as you breach the area of the thicket of trees, what you can imagine is some northern edge of the Calatian Grove, or maybe can't be the Heart Wilds given how far north those go. But as you break through the tree line here, it opens up into this rocky, like, sort of scrubby field. Little tufts of grass here and there, very unkempt, very, like, long and waving in the wind, along with this sort of otherwise fairly barren chunks of earth that stretch up and northwards and veer upwards a little bit, as on the horizon, tearing across the skyline, up from the north, wending all the way over to the east, farther than you can see, are these
unimaginable mountains. Just brilliant. Some of the largest ones capped with snow. The most massive of all the mountains, sort of a little off-center, glittering with in the light somehow, in a way that the others aren't. And further south than that one, these beautiful two twin spires, these spikes of stone, reaching up towards the sky, then coming back down and meeting somewhere below the edge of the lip of the ridge that you can see, as the vastness of the Dragonspine Mountains lie on the edge of your vision. But between them and the field that stretches before you, at the sloping base of some of the mountains, a great roadway carves its way through and down and sloping somewhere across the field. But spanning the middle of this field is a fairly sizable, clearly temporary military encampment.
Just like in the smut book.
Stories still come true.
We
Terra
walk
whispers
in
that.
now, just like
It's a good ways ahead of you, but it spans the bulk of the field. These wooden stakes set up all along the rounds, capped with metal up top the tip of these stakes. And patrolling the walls, as much as you can see from how far away you are figures clad in like brilliant iridescent armor with all sorts of scaled bodies inhabiting these armors. And I'm not talking white serpentine scales, I'm talking iridescent reds, whites, greens, blacks, blues, some winged, some tailed, some cloaked. You see an encampment patrolled by dragonkin, and periodically behind the wall, some great winged beast will take flight and land somewhere else. Another smaller one will do the same. And on this side of the wall, in little encampments all along the military installation here, are clearly camps of travelers and otherwise, who somehow are not being let through. And as you stand on this end of the tree line, and your goal, the mountains, are all the way on the horizon across this stretch, this is where we'll take our weekly break and come back next week for session episode 5. And as we wind down tonight, it's important to note that next episode we aren't going to be just the 4 of us,
No.
are we?
No.
What's the best way to put this, gang?
I'm pregnant.
It's called the, you know how we have the British invasion?
Yeah.
It's the Minshew invasion.
The
The
Minshew invasion.
invasion.
Idaho invasion.
The Eagle invasion.
Idahoan.
The potato invasion.
The potato
The
invasion.
potato invades the opposite of the potato family.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right?
Woody will be back.
Who none of us know.
Woody.
Whose I did?
But more importantly, our youngest brother, Miles, will be playing with us this coming Monday.
So we'll be back at 5 players
Yeah.
for the first time in many a month.
Many-
Miles as
Many
Miles as a guest.
Yes.
Woody as a
He's back for
Returned.
good.
so
We're not letting him leave.
A returned.
yeah.
It
So,
sounds like a really shitty title, like a player character gets called in like an MMO.
Yeah.
Right?
The returned.
Returned. Travel to the peaks.
And if you thought Woody was chaotic, wait till Miles plays D&D.
Oh,
God.
this is exciting.
Oh my god, and I've set up an entire military encampment for you guys to like romp through.
The
or
last
obfuscate.
the last character he played that I remember, he named it Cheese, but it was spelled phonetically. So it was like
T.
TS, like all the IPA.
I hate it.
Yeah,
I hate
Absolutely.
it.
So,
Great.
we'll see. We're working on a more
Great.
in-depth character.
That's
than
just
A little
dandy.
bit more grounded.
Yeah.
Absolutely dandy.
Jeez. Like from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends?
that. I don't know.
Probably.
I've seen it.
Oh my god.
Keith.
Alexandria.
That takes me.
This is going to be quite the session next week. Thank you guys for a fabulous,
Yeah.
windy session today.
Fucking hell yeah.
This
Thank
was
you, Will.
a nuts one.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get crazier from here. Really.
Yeah.
So, as far as you guys are concerned, enjoy the rest of your weeks. Have a lovely time. If you haven't celebrated it before this point, happy belated Mother's Day. Go tell a mother or maternal figure in your life how much they mean to you. Appreciate them. And appreciate yourselves. Have a grand old time. And stick with us for a few more moments while we blow our horns and let loose the sails for our raid.
Yeet.
Pillage somebody else's stream for us.
And I'll see y'all on Sunday over at Legends of Halos if you want to come.
Be excellent to each other.
Yeah. Party
Can you do
on.
it? Can you do it for real?
Be excellent to
Not
each
the
other.
pose. Not the pose. It's the
Party on, dudes!
If you kill Ignis, that's what you're getting.
Oh, I think I'd sooner blow the planet up. I think I'd sooner have La.
Have I told you
invoke that
about
judgment.
my
Yeah, absolutely.
College of Eloquence?
That was what you were threatening Woody with
Yes.
in the home campaign.
And
Like,
I
yeah.
still, and you know what?
Kill me a second time and we'll play ball. Oh god. Who are we pillaging?
Looks like we're going to L2S Entertainment.
Oh yeah, L2S Entertainment. They're lovely.
Heck yeah. Time to pillage the village. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you back here at this table a week from now.
Yeet.
Yeet yeet! Skirt skirt!
Bye.
Are we still streaming? Is it still going?
Yeah.
I think it might be.
It's
Ready.
still going?
It's still
It's like
going.
the end of Toy Story 2.
almost
Is it
there.
still on?
Alright.
Are we still
Is
here?
it? Are
We're on
we-
our way to the.
Yeah, we're done.
wait,
Are we done? Are we done? We're done.
I mean, we're still live, but let me take care of
Oh
that.
my god, they have fucking so many.
They're really nice. It's this guy.
Streamlabs.